I've been quietly following discussions here for a while, but recent events with my family have finally pushed me to share my story. At 35, I've built a life I'm proud of, but my family dynamics have worn me down emotionally and mentally. Despite my best efforts, I always seem to be cast as the villain in my family narrative. I'm currently a middle manager at a Silicon Valley software company. My success didn't come easy. I worked tirelessly, overcame significant challenges, and built everything I have from the ground up. My house, car, and savings are the result of sleepless nights and sheer determination. Yet, my family's dysfunction has been a shadow over my journey. Growing up in suburban Boston, my family seemed ideal from the outside. My mom was a part-time elementary school teacher, and my dad worked in insurance. We lived in a nice neighborhood with good schools. Beneath the surface, though, there was an unspoken rule: I was the responsible one, the model child, while my younger brother, Jason, could do no wrong. The favoritism was glaring. When I was 16, I was grounded for a month over a B+ in chemistry, while Jason, at age 8, was excused for stealing from my dad's wallet. "He's just going through a phase," my parents said. This double standard followed us into adulthood. While I worked 2 part-time jobs to pay for state college, Jason dropped out of community college after 1 semester, declaring it too stressful. My parents paid his rent for what was supposed to be a gap year but stretched into 5 years of finding himself. I graduated with honors, entered the tech industry, and climbed the corporate ladder through hard work. Meanwhile, Jason hopped between failed ventures, always blaming external factors. My parents consistently bailed him out, often turning to me for financial help. Last week, my mom called, something she rarely does unless she needs something. After the usual overly friendly small talk, she dropped the bombshell: Jason had racked up $40,000 in debt with some dangerous people. Her voice quivered as she tried to guilt me into helping, saying, "You've always been the strong one. Jason's not like you. He's sensitive." This time, I refused. For the first time in my life, I said no. My mother's tone instantly shifted from pleading to furious. She accused me of being selfish and abandoning my family. The manipulation was blatant and exhausting, but I held my ground. The fallout was swift. My parents launched a smear campaign, painting me as heartless to the extended family. Worse, someone, likely Jason, attempted to access my bank account using stolen personal information. When the bank flagged the fraud attempt, I felt a deep sense of betrayal. I updated my security measures and decided to confront Jason. When I visited his apartment, he casually admitted, "Mom and Dad said you'd cave if things got bad enough. I was just speeding things up." His audacity was chilling. As I prepared to leave, my parents arrived, escalating the situation into a heated confrontation. They defended Jason's actions, insisting, "Family helps family." When I played a recording of them justifying his behavior, their outrage turned to silence. I warned them that any further attempts to exploit me would be met with legal action. After that, I blocked their numbers and shared my story with the extended family, complete with evidence of the fraud attempt. The response was overwhelming. Other relatives came forward, revealing Jason's history of deceit, including stolen jewelry and fraudulent loans. His reputation, and my parents' carefully curated image, crumbled. Jason is now working multiple jobs to pay off his debt. My parents, ostracized by their social circle, have retreated from public life. For the first time, I feel free from their manipulation. I've since received a promotion at work, begun building a supportive network of friends, and started dating someone who respects my boundaries. This experience taught me that family isn't defined by blood but by mutual respect and accountability. By standing up for myself, I not only reclaimed my life but also inspired others to do the same. I'm finally ready to start a new chapter, free from the weight of my family's dysfunction. After the dust settled, I began reflecting on everything that had transpired. For years, I allowed myself to be weighed down by the belief that I needed to be the glue holding my family together. Saying no to my parents and Jason was more than just a refusal, it was the first step in redefining my boundaries and reclaiming my identity. The transformation wasn't immediate. Initially, I wrestled with guilt and second-guessed myself, wondering if I'd overreacted or misjudged the situation. But with time, I realized that protecting myself wasn't selfish, it was necessary. Jason's choices and my parents' enabling behavior were not my responsibility to fix. Instead of focusing on their dysfunction, I redirected my energy toward my own growth. Professionally, the promotion I received came with new challenges and opportunities. I've been diving into projects that excite me and expanding my skill set. It feels empowering to channel my time and effort into something that adds value to my life, rather than pouring it into a bottomless pit of family drama. Personally, I've started reconnecting with people who genuinely care about me. My Aunt Catherine, one of the few family members who supported me through all of this, has become a pillar of encouragement. I've also found a few friends who feel more like family than my own blood ever did. They remind me that relationships built on mutual respect and understanding are far more fulfilling than those tied together by obligation or guilt. One of the most surprising outcomes has been the strength I've found within myself. For years, I doubted my ability to stand up to my parents and Jason. Now, looking back, I see how much courage it took to walk away from a toxic situation. It wasn't just about money or boundaries, it was about valuing myself enough to say, enough is enough. While I've moved on, Jason's life has taken a very different turn. The extended family, armed with the truth, has cut off his access to their resources. With no one left to bail him out, he's finally facing the consequences of his actions. Working multiple jobs to pay off his debt has forced him to confront the reality of his irresponsibility. Though my parents initially tried to downplay the situation, their attempts to shield Jason have backfired spectacularly. Their friends and community have distanced themselves, and they've been forced to acknowledge the fallout from years of enabling behavior. It's not the resolution I would have chosen for them, but it's the one they've created through their actions. These days, my focus is entirely on the future. I'm continuing to invest in my career, setting goals that align with my passions and ambitions. I've also been exploring new hobbies, like hiking and photography, which help me stay grounded and present. The relationship I've started has been another unexpected blessing. It's refreshing to be with someone who respects my boundaries and supports my independence. After years of navigating family chaos, this feels like a breath of fresh air. If there's one thing this experience has taught me, it's the importance of self-worth. For too long, I let myself be manipulated by the idea that family comes before everything else, even at the cost of my own well-being. But family isn't just about shared blood, it's about shared values, trust, and respect. Walking away from a toxic family dynamic isn't easy, but sometimes it's the healthiest choice you can make. I'm living proof that it's possible to break free, rebuild, and thrive. To anyone reading this who feels trapped by similar circumstances, you are not alone, and you are not obligated to sacrifice your happiness for others. It's okay to say no. It's okay to choose yourself. As I close this chapter of my life, I feel hopeful for what's to come. The weight of my family's expectations no longer burdens me, and for the first time, I feel truly free to live life on my terms. As the weeks turned into months, the distance I created from my family began to feel less like a chasm and more like a protective boundary, a safe space where I could finally breathe, think, and exist without fear of judgment or manipulation. This newfound freedom has allowed me to focus on what truly matters, my growth, my happiness, and the relationships that bring positivity into my life. One of the biggest changes has been the absence of constant dread. For years, I lived with an undercurrent of anxiety, waiting for the next phone call, text message, or guilt trip. Now, I wake up with a sense of peace, knowing I'm no longer a pawn in my family's dysfunction. This experience has also pushed me to rediscover parts of myself that I had neglected. When you're constantly in survival mode, you lose touch with the things that bring you joy. I've started journaling again, a practice I used to love but had abandoned during the height of the family chaos. Writing helps me process my emotions and reminds me of how far I've come. I've also returned to painting, a hobby I cherished in college but set aside as life got busier. There's something therapeutic about putting brush to canvas, letting colors and shapes speak when words fall short. It's a reminder that creativity can be a powerful tool for healing. One of the most rewarding aspects of this journey has been the deepening of relationships with people who genuinely care about me. My Aunt Catherine, for instance, has been a rock. We've started meeting for coffee regularly, and I'm learning more about her life and the challenges she's faced. Her support and wisdom have been invaluable, and I'm grateful to have her in my corner. I've also rekindled friendships that had taken a back seat during the chaos. These friends remind me that not all relationships are transactional or conditional. They celebrate my successes, comfort me during tough times, and, most importantly, respect my boundaries. While I've made significant strides in reclaiming my life, letting go of the past hasn't been easy. There are days when memories resurface, moments where I question whether I could have done things differently. But I remind myself that walking away wasn't a failure, it was an act of self-preservation. Therapy has been a huge help in this regard. Speaking with a professional has given me the tools to process my emotions and untangle the web of guilt, anger, and sadness that my family's actions created. It's a work in progress, but looking ahead, I feel a sense of excitement and possibility that I haven't felt in years. I've set new goals for myself, both professionally and personally. At work, I'm exploring leadership opportunities that align with my long-term aspirations. I've also started planning a solo trip to Europe, something I've dreamed of but always put off. It feels liberating to prioritize my desires without fear of being labeled selfish. In my personal life, I'm focusing on building a strong foundation of trust and respect with my partner. This relationship has been a revelation, a reminder that love doesn't have to be about sacrifice or suffering. For the first time, I'm with someone who sees me as an equal, who values my independence, and who cheers me on as I chase my dreams. To anyone grappling with toxic family dynamics, I want you to know that it's okay to put yourself first. It's okay to say no, to set boundaries, and to walk away if necessary. These choices don't make you selfish, they make you strong. You deserve relationships that uplift you, not ones that drain you. Remember that healing isn't linear. There will be setbacks and moments of doubt, but every step you take toward reclaiming your life is a victory. Surround yourself with people who support your journey, and don't hesitate to seek professional help if you need it. As I write this, I'm sitting on my porch, watching the sun dip below the horizon. The world feels full of possibilities, and for the first time in a long time, I feel at peace. My family's chaos no longer defines me. I am more than their scapegoat, more than their fixer. I am my own person, capable of building a life filled with joy, love, and fulfillment. This is the beginning of a new chapter, one where I write my own story. And for that, I am profoundly grateful. As I've continued to distance myself from the toxicity of my family's dynamics, I've discovered something remarkable: life feels lighter. Without the constant cloud of guilt and manipulation hanging over me, I can finally focus on creating a life that reflects who I truly am, not the version of myself that others tried to mold. One of the most profound changes has been the way I approach my goals. For so long, my drive to succeed was fueled by a need to prove myself, to earn validation from people who never acknowledged my worth. Now, I strive for success not as a way to gain approval, but because I genuinely enjoy the challenges and rewards of my work. My career no longer feels like an endless uphill battle, it feels like a path I've chosen for myself. Breaking free from my family's expectations has also allowed me to reconnect with who I am at my core. For years, I silenced parts of myself to fit the role they assigned me, the responsible one, the fixer, the person who always put others first. Now, I'm exploring parts of myself that were buried under those labels. I've started journaling more deeply, not just about the events of the day but about my hopes, fears, and dreams. It's been enlightening to rediscover my voice, unfiltered and unapologetic. Through writing, I've realized how much I've grown and how resilient I've become. Travel has also become a cornerstone of my journey. The solo trip to Europe I mentioned? It's no longer just an idea, it's a plan in motion. I've booked flights and accommodations and mapped out an itinerary that includes art museums in Paris, hiking trails in Switzerland, and quiet mornings in quaint Italian cafes. This trip isn't just about seeing new places, it's about reclaiming my independence and proving to myself that I can thrive on my own terms. Another unexpected joy has been building a new, chosen family. Over the past months, I've made an effort to cultivate relationships with people who share my values and appreciate me for who I am. These connections have been a balm for my soul, reminding me that love and support don't have to come with strings attached. I've joined a local book club, where I've met a group of vibrant, like-minded individuals who share my love of stories and discussion. Our gatherings are filled with laughter, thoughtful conversation, and the kind of camaraderie I always longed for in my family but rarely experienced. I've also deepened my relationship with my partner, who has been a constant source of support. Their patience and understanding have helped me navigate the emotional aftermath of cutting ties with my family. Together, we're building a relationship based on mutual respect and open communication, a far cry from the dysfunction I left behind. Looking back, I can see how much I've transformed. The person I was a year ago, overwhelmed, guilt-ridden, and desperate for approval, feels like a distant memory. That version of me would have been too afraid to say no, too afraid to challenge the status quo. But standing up for myself was the catalyst for everything that followed. This experience has taught me that boundaries are a form of self-care, not selfishness. Saying no doesn't make you a bad person, it makes you a person who values their well-being. And sometimes, walking away from toxic relationships is the most loving thing you can do, for yourself and for the people you're walking away from, who might finally face the consequences of their actions. The future feels wide open, and for the first time, that doesn't scare me, it excites me. I'm exploring new possibilities in my career, diving into creative projects, and dreaming of the life I want to build. I'm no longer weighed down by the expectations of others, I'm free to shape my own path. There are still challenges ahead, of course. Healing is a lifelong journey, and there will be moments when the past creeps in. But I've learned that I have the strength to face those moments and the tools to navigate them. If my story resonates with you, I want you to know that you're not alone. Breaking free from toxic family dynamics is one of the hardest things you can do, but it's also one of the most liberating. It's okay to choose yourself. It's okay to walk away from people who don't respect your boundaries. And it's okay to build a life that prioritizes your happiness and well-being. Remember, you are not defined by your family's dysfunction. You have the power to rewrite your story, to surround yourself with people who lift you up, and to create a life filled with love, joy, and purpose. As for me, I'm ready to embrace whatever comes next. The road ahead may be uncertain, but for the first time in my life, it's a road I'm choosing to walk, and that makes all the difference. As I continue down this road of self-discovery and healing, I've realized that freedom isn't just about breaking away from toxic relationships, it's also about reclaiming my agency and learning to embrace joy without guilt. For so long, my achievements felt hollow, overshadowed by the constant demand to be everything for everyone. Now, I'm learning to celebrate my successes purely for what they mean to me. This shift in perspective hasn't come without its challenges. There are moments when echoes of my past sneak in, whispers of selfishness or abandonment that used to keep me in line. But those voices are growing quieter with time, drowned out by the affirmations of the life I'm building. Each new experience, each step toward my goals, is a reminder that I've made the right choice. One of the most surprising discoveries on this journey has been the strength found in vulnerability. Opening up about my experiences, not just to close friends but to wider circles through social media and forums like this, has been both cathartic and empowering. It's shown me that I'm not alone. The messages of support and shared stories from others who've faced similar struggles have been a source of immense comfort. These connections have underscored a profound truth: being vulnerable isn't a weakness, it's a testament to our resilience. Sharing my story has not only helped me heal but has also given others the courage to confront their own struggles. Knowing that my journey might inspire even one person to take a stand for their well-being makes every difficult step worthwhile. Redefining success and happiness. For years, my idea of success was tied to external validation, achieving milestones that others could applaud. But now, I'm redefining what success means to me. It's no longer about titles, salaries, or societal benchmarks. Success, I've learned, is about alignment, living a life that reflects my values, passions, and aspirations. Happiness, too, has taken on a new meaning. It's not the fleeting high of a major accomplishment or the approval of others. It's the quiet contentment of a Sunday morning spent journaling, the exhilaration of exploring a new hiking trail, the warmth of a deep conversation with someone who truly sees you. These are the moments that fill my life with meaning and joy. As I reflect on the path I've taken, I'm struck by the idea of legacy, not in the sense of wealth or fame, but in the impact we leave on those we encounter. For years, my family's legacy to me was one of guilt, obligation, and pain. But I've chosen to forge a different legacy for myself. I want to be remembered as someone who stood up for her worth, who didn't let adversity define her, and who turned her pain into purpose. I want to inspire others to break free from the chains of toxic relationships and to create lives that honor their truth. Moving forward, I'm committed to living intentionally. Every decision, from how I spend my time to the people I let into my life, will be guided by what aligns with my values and brings me genuine happiness. This means continuing to nurture the relationships that matter, pursuing passions that ignite my soul, and giving myself grace when I stumble. I've also begun exploring ways to give back. Whether it's mentoring younger colleagues, volunteering with organizations that empower women, or simply being a source of encouragement for friends and acquaintances, I want to use my journey to uplift others. There's a unique strength that comes from adversity, and sharing that strength with others feels like a fitting way to honor the lessons I've learned. The road ahead is still unwritten, but that's what excites me most. I'm no longer weighed down by the expectations of others or the need to conform to their vision of who I should be. For the first time, my life feels like it's truly mine to shape. I don't know where this path will lead, but I do know this: it will be a journey filled with growth, exploration, and authenticity. And as I continue to walk this road, I'll carry with me the lessons of resilience, the strength of boundaries, and the joy of living a life aligned with my values. To anyone who finds themselves at a crossroads, unsure whether to take that step toward freedom, trust yourself. It's not an easy path, but it's one worth taking. You are worthy of love, respect, and a life that honors who you are. The journey may be long, and there may be moments of doubt, but each step you take toward reclaiming your life is a victory. As for me, I'm ready to embrace the future with open arms. Whatever comes next, I know I have the strength to face it. And that knowledge, more than anything, is what sets me free. Thank you for watching the video. Subscribe and turn on notifications to be the first to have radish and real stories with you. Have a great day.